Hello class, welcome to 8.3. We're going to now solve some equations that have variables and numbers on both sides of the equal sign. And these are the steps that you should do for all equations pretty much from now until even through the next class and future classes. So the first step is get rid of fractions and decimals if there are any. We're going to go over this in 8.4. But that should be the first thing that you do. The second is going to be distribute if there's anything to distribute. Then you're going to combine like terms on each side of the equation. So if you have more than one x on one side of the equation, combine those. And if you have more than one number, combine them. Next, you're going to isolate the variable using the addition property. That means you're going to add and subtract either variables or constants from both sides of the equal sign so that you have all the variables on one side and all the constants on the other. And then finally, you're going to solve by multiplying or dividing. So at this point, you're going to have something like 3x equals 6 and divide by 3. Or you'll have x over 2 equals 4 and you'll multiply both sides by 2. So some examples of questions that you might get. But first, I recommend that you keep this list with you whenever you're solving equations, just to help you out with everything. So, the first example is if we have 12 equals 21 minus 4, and in parentheses 1 minus 2x. Okay, so we don't have any fractions or decimals. But we do have a 4 that we can distribute. So that's the first thing we need to do. So we're going to have 12 equals 21 minus 4 times 1 is 4. And negative 4 times negative 2x is going to be plus 8x. Now the next step is to combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. Make sure you do them in these steps. It'll make things easier for you. So before you move any of these numbers over, do the 21 minus 4. So we're going to still have 12 equals 21 minus 4 is 17 plus 8x. Now, we don't have any like terms to combine, so we have a plus 17, so we're going to subtract 17 from both sides. And we're going to be left with a negative 5 equals 8x. And finally, we're going to divide both sides by 8. So we're going to get negative 5 over 8 equals x. Okay, so the next one has a little bit different. So let's say that we have 5x minus 9 equals 4x. Okay, so we don't have anything to distribute. We don't have any like terms. So the first thing we're going to do is isolate the variable. Since we only have x's on the right, we're going to move all our x's to that side. So since this is a plus 5x, we're going to say minus 5x to both sides. And we're going to be left with negative 9 equals 4x minus 5x is negative x. Okay, so now we have to divide by a negative 1. And we're going to get 9 equals x. Next, let's say we have 4 times 5x plus 1 equals negative 7. So we do have to distribute here. So now we're going to have a 20x plus 4 equals negative 7. We need to subtract the 4 so that we have only x's on this side. So minus 4 minus 4. We're going to have 20x equals negative 11. Divide both sides by the 20 so that all we have is the x. And we have x equals negative 11 over 20 as our final answer. Alright, now, so let's look at some that have more to them. So let's say we have negative 2x minus 3, and then in parentheses, 4x minus 2, close parentheses, equals negative 5 minus 1, and in parentheses, 1 minus x. Okay, so we have quite a bit to do on this one. So the first thing we need to do is distribute the negative 3 and the negative 1. So we're going to have negative 2x minus 12x plus 6 equals negative 5 minus 1 plus x. Remember that we had to distribute the -1 and the -3. So this 1 becomes a negative, this negative becomes positive. Okay, so now we can combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. So on this side we have a -2x and a -12x, so it becomes minus 14x plus 6 equals, on this side we have -5, -1, so -6 plus x. Okay, so now we want our letters on one side and numbers on the other. So to make my x's positive, I'm going to add 14x to both sides. And since I moved my x's to the right, that means I'm going to move my numbers to the left. So I'm going to add, this is a -6, so I'm going to plus 6 to both sides. So now on this side, I have minus 14x plus 14x, which is 0. 6 plus 6, which is 12, equals minus 6 plus 6 is 0. X plus 14x is 15x. Now, I need to divide both sides by the 15. And I'm going to get x equals 12 over 15. But both of these are divisible by 3. So I'm going to simplify. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Over 15 divided by 3 is 5. And so 4 over 5 is what is x. Okay, next, let's look at 5 in parentheses x minus 8 minus 6 equals -3 in parentheses x plus 8. Okay, so I have to distribute the 5 and get 5x minus 40 minus 6 equals, distribute the -3, -3x minus 24. Okay, I don't have like terms on the right side, but I do on the left, so I'm going to combine them. And I'll have 5x minus 46 equals -3x minus 24. Okay, so I'm going to move, now I'm going to get all my variables on one side and numbers on the other. So I'm going to say plus 3x to both sides. Since I'm moving my variables to the left, I'm going to move my numbers to the right. So the minus 46, I'm going to say plus 46, plus 46. And so here I have a 5x plus 3x is 8x, minus 46 plus 46 is 0, equals minus 3x plus 3x is 0. And I have 46 minus 24, which is 22. So now I need to divide both sides by 8. I'm going to get x equals 22 and 8 are both divisible by 2. So 22 divided by 2 is 11. Over 8 divided by 2 is 4. And that's the answer. Next, let's say we have 8 times, in parentheses, x minus 3 plus 6 equals -7, in parentheses, x minus 5. Okay, so now I'm going to distribute the 8 and the -7. I'll have 8x minus 24 plus 6 equals -7x plus 35. So I combine like terms on this side. I'll have 8x minus 18 equals -7x plus 35. I'm going to move my x's to the left, so I'm going to add 7x to both sides. That means I'm going to move my numbers to the right, so I'm going to add 18 to both sides. So now 8x plus 7x is 15x equals 35 plus 18 is 53. Divide both sides by 15, and x equals 53 over 15. And that's as far as we can go there. Next, let's say we have -19x minus 4 equals 1x minus 12. Alright, so now I can't distribute anything. I don't have like terms on either side, so I'm going to move all my x's to one side, all my letter numbers to the other. And normally I like to have my x's positive, and so I'm going to move my 19x, which is a negative, over to the right. So I'm going to add 19x to both sides. That means I'm going to add the 12 to both sides. And that means here, I'm going to have 8 equals 20x. Divide both sides by 20. X equals, both of these are divisible by 4, so I'm going to have 2 over 5 equals x. And let's say we have negative 5 times x plus 4, and then plus 77 equals 22 plus 15. I don't know why they're giving you some like this, where you have just two numbers added to each other with nothing else, but you do. Now I'm going to still do all my steps separately. So I'm going to first distribute the negative 5. So I'll have negative 5x minus 20 plus 77 equals 22 plus 15. Now I'm going to combine like terms on each side. So I'm going to keep the negative 5x. I have minus 20 plus 77, which becomes plus 57, equals 22 plus 15 is 37. Now I need to subtract the 57 from both sides. And we have a negative 5x equals 37 minus 57 is negative 20. Now I have to divide both sides by the negative 5. And I'm going to be left with x equals negative divided by negative is positive. 20 divided by 5 is 4. And that's the final answer there. And that's it for 8.3. In 8.4, we're going to do ones where we actually have fractions or decimals to get rid of for the first step.